One of the nice things about Articulate Storyline is the ability to record your screen. Now, Articulate Storyline is meant to create online training that your users can go through, and a lot of that training has to do with simulations. So you're going to be creating a lot of different simulations, whether it be like how to log into the system or how to generate a report or anything like that. And there's a couple different things that you're going to want to do when you're actually inside of this system. You're going to want to, first of all, show them, then you're going to want to allow them to try it, and then you may want them to quiz on what they just did or to test on what they just did, just to verify or track that they can actually perform that task in whatever system that you're actually teaching them. So one of the capabilities inside of Storyline is the ability to record your screen. So you can start recording your screen in two different ways. When you're just starting a project, you can come over to, instead of new project, you can come over and click on record your screen. However, if you already have a project created and you wanted to insert a recording into that project, you do it in a little bit of a different way. You can either come in to the insert tab, click on record your screen, the drop down box, and go down to record your screen, or you can see any recordings that you've already done. If you don't select the drop-down box, you can just click on this record screen button and it will actually bring up the record screen area. Now it does tell you exactly what you need to do in order to record your screen. It says how to record, move and size the frame, click the red button to record, and then press done when finished. So I can drag and position this and resize this in any way that I want. You'll notice that it does try to keep me proportional here. I could come in here and just go into full screen, select this drop down box on the bottom left hand side here, select full screen, select a window, or I can come in here and click on the gear icon, and I also have the ability to switch my microphones, switch the speakers, and also do a couple different things. You can see that it's to stop recording, I just click on the escape button. To pause, I click Alt and plus D. And then to print the screen, if I wanted to use that for later, I can do that here just by clicking on that settings icon. However, if I wanted to, you'll notice this keeps me either at a 4:3 ratio or a 16:9, and this could depend on the size of my project on the default feature, but I do have the capability to switch it. So I'm going to go ahead and just select it as that, come over here, make sure that my microphone is plugged in, and then click on record. Then it gives me a little bit of a countdown, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Now anything that's happening and anything that I'm saying within this red area is going to be recorded. So I can click on the file, come down to help, and then go over to the help section, and that will pull up a new window, and that will be the help section there. So let me come back here and just click on done. Once I'm done, I can click on done, and that will take a little bit, but it will process that information that just happened, and it will save that information over to Storyline. Now, once it pulls back up, I can then start editing that information inside of Articulate Storyline. So this is my screen, and it gives me the ability to do a couple different things. Is first of all, I have the ability to change the name on this. Right now it's just going to say desktop and give me the date and time. But I wanted to name this whatever process it is, so let me just call this File Explorer, and then I can either insert it as a video, as a single slide, step-by-step slides, and then I have the option to whether or not I want to use the mouse cursor. Now step-by-step slides is if you're going to allow them to try it. And there's a couple things that you can do, or the video single slide is just if you're going to show them. Again, you're working with three different things. You're showing them how to do something, you're allowing them to try it, and then you're quizzing them on what they've actually learned. And those are the different things that you can do. Now you can also click on this drop down box and whether you want or to insert it as a new scene, or if you wanted to insert it inside of a specific scene. And then also if you wanted to give this, if it is a new scene, if you wanted to give this a specific scene name. And I'm just going to leave that as a new scene and then click on insert. Now it's going to initialize the project. I just left it as a normal video, and it's going to insert it inside of my scene. There we go. I have a new scene. It has one slide. That's the option that I chose. And you'll notice that as the object down here at the bottom here, it's actually given me that File Explorer video, and then I can click on, let's go ahead and click on preview. And by selecting the drop down box, we're just previewing this one slide, and it's going to show me, and it's going to have the recording right there. So I see my mouse moving. If I had my speaker plugged into this, I would hear the audio as well. And this is as just one slide. So if, as you're building this course, you wanted the user to just see how something is done, you can do that inside using the screen recording function. Now there's other capabilities besides that. There's the slide by slide capability. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert or just delete this. I'm going to right click on it. Let's just delete the whole scene. So I'm going to select in the story view. I'm going to select that scene, right click it, and then go down to delete scene and then click yes. Now let's come back into screen recording and select the drop down box. You'll notice that recording that I did previously is now contained within that drop box. This allows me to reuse it or reinsert it if needed. And it also pops open with that same options that I did before, with the same options that happened before. I can either do it as a video on single slide, or I can do it as step-by-step slides. Well, if I want to show them, I would use the single video. If I want them to actually try it out or to do it as a step-by-step option, then I can select step-by-step options, and then this is where I select the different options here. Now, this is my view, my try, and my test. So the single recording is just like watching a video. But if you wanted the view modes to go a little bit slower and to have little pop-ups as they're actually going through and seeing the content, you can do that option here as well with the step-by-step slides. The try it will actually allow them to try it on their screen. And then also the test will actually test them to make sure that they know exactly what to do. And they go through and they click the same things that the mouse actually clicked on when you did the recording. So I'm going to come in here and click on, first of all, view mode steps. And we're going to insert this as a new scene, and then click on insert. Because again, and this is just a recommendation, you want them to first view it so they learn the information. Then you want to have them try it so they can grasp the information and understand it a little bit better. And then if you want them to be able to test on it, then you would go to test, and that way they have to click it and try it out themselves. So here, as I come into this section, you'll notice it's not just a video, it actually has a lot of different elements. It does have some videos depending on the elements that I've chosen, and it has some screen recording or screen captures. So you notice the first thing that happens is this mouse here. We have this mouse icon that will then animate over here, and then it will click at a certain point. And then once that click happens, then you'll notice the animation that happens of it, the window popping up. So basically this, I can come in here and I can adjust if I wanted to format. Let's make this a little bit different. We'll have a gray pop-up. Come over to the next slide. Then you see it says click and drag. Well, I'm not really clicking and dragging. I'm just going to say click help icon. So I can change the text inside of there. So again, Storyline tries to do as much as it can to come up with the right text and everything, but it is very helpful and very important that you go through and you change it and you update it to get exactly how you want. There's all these pop-ups may not happen in the right spot, so you may need to move it, or let's say, okay, I'm not really seeing that very good. Let's just go ahead and stretch this off and then change the formatting for it. So that's things that you're going to have to do, is go through and tweak it as you've gone through this content. So here's our view section. Now the learner can go through and view it. Let's go ahead and just preview this. We don't want to just do that slide. We want to do the entire scene. So I'm going to select the drop down box for this scene. So you can see the first thing, there's the click menu button. Then it's going to pop up, click on the menu. The screen recording is going to go. Now the next thing is going to go into the help, click help icon. So the mouse is going to move over there and it takes me through step by step. Now that's not it. So we've showed them the content, but now we want to have them try it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm actually going to leave this one here alone. So I'm just going to name this scene show, and I'm going to come back into insert, go into record screen, and then click on File Explorer. We've already used this, but we're going to use this in a little bit of a different way now. I'm going to come into try mode, and I'm going to go ahead and insert this as a new scene, and it's going to be called the try scene. And now we're going to allow the user to try the content. That's going to create some click boxes for us that we can then, make sure that it's positioned in the right area. And then the user can actually click on it to navigate to the next elements here. So you can see if I go into the first page, you can see this hotspot has already been created. And as soon as we click on it, there's a trigger that says play media recording action. So it's going to stop right here, and then it's going to play the rest of the recording and then jump on to the next page. And then once it jumps to the next page, it's now going to create a new interaction. But you notice that it did not, because this is confused a little bit, thinking that I clicked and dragged something, it did not create an actual hotspot. So I need to come into the controllers, and I need to click on hotspot, and then I need to drag out the area of the hotspot. And then I'm going to go ahead and on the hotspots, I'm not going to show layer. I'm going to double click. We're going to talk about triggers later, but I'm going to double click on this, and we're going to jump to scene, jump to slide, and we're just going to do next slide is good enough. I'm going to click OK. So that way when they click on this, it's actually going to navigate to the next slide. So you may have to do these types of modifications. I'm going to go ahead and just select the drop down box, come down to this scene, and it's going to preview my scene. Now, it does not give me hints. If I wanted to have a hint pop up, that's up to you. But for example, I'm going to come over here. It does have a hint as soon as I hover over it, and I can change that. I have full capability to change that. If I click on that, then you can see that the animation for the next one happens. And now I have, on my next slide, I have the ability to click this help icon, and then it will take me to the next page. So that's the try it mode. Now, one more mode we're going to go ahead and just look at quickly is we're going to take a look at the test mode. Now, if I click on insert test mode, it's going to pretty much be the same thing as the click and drag, but they're actually going to get scored based on if they clicked or not in the right spots. So we'll take a look at what that is here. So the first thing is the hotspot interaction, and so you'll notice that instead of just a regular page, it's actually a quiz page, and I can tell that by this question up here, and I can tell that by the form view that the hotspot says the correct answer is this hotspot right here, and I can actually drag out the, if I click on add hotspot, I can drag out more hotspots that are incorrect. So let's go ahead and click on add hotspot. And we're going to drag out, let's say we want it to be incorrect if they click anywhere else besides there. Let me just delete that one. I got too carried away there. So there we go. So if they click anywhere else in this area, it's actually going to be incorrect. So you can say regular hotspot, and it is not the correct answer. The correct answer is this file icon, and it's going to count it as incorrect and give them incorrect feedback if they actually select anywhere else. So I've added that functionality. All right, so it's going to submit the interaction based on if they've clicked on this or if they've clicked on this. So over on the right-hand side, we have submit interaction, and then we have the incorrect feedback or the try again feedback. And I can adjust these settings inside of the question tools. We're going to talk about the different quiz settings and everything in a later video. And so whatever we learn about in the later video is going to apply to this video once you're doing these types of recordings. So keep that in mind. You may want to just hold off for now until we get into the quiz section in order to customize this a little bit more and adjust the different settings. But that's how you actually go in and you create 3 different types of record your screen options, which are the view, and you can either do that by a regular video recording, or you can do that step-by-step view, or you can do that inside of or as a test mode or a try mode where they can actually try it and click on the different buttons, or you can do it as a test mode where you can actually quiz them and score them based on the answers and based on where they click and where they don't click and everything. So that's the record feature. That's pretty much all that you need to know with the record feature when you're building screen simulations inside of Articulate Storyline.